If you knew my whole story, you'd be proud of me.
Why you can't goddamn do you a bottom nigga?
It's cool when I get out there, just have that energy.
Yeah, we just saw like 6 cop cars like zoom right past us. What is going on?
I don't know, I see my
Things are blocked off over there.
Oh yeah, something really bad happened.
Oh my god.
Oh no, rubbernecking.
Learning more about an attempted murder-suicide in downtown Griffin. In a post shared Facebook on Saturday, the Spalding County Sheriff says a woman leaving the courthouse on Friday morning was gunned down inside her car along 6th Street. Now, the sheriff says the shooter, identified as her husband, took off, but a short time later during a traffic stop, the sheriff says the man shot himself. As of this morning, he's still alive. Now, the sheriff says there is a history of domestic violence, and most recently, the husband was arrested for domestic violence and posted bond.
Imagine being in a 20-year relationship, raising several children together, believing you've built a solid and loving family. Then, one day, a devastating secret comes to light. Your husband has been secretly involved with other men. Suddenly, all the subtle signs, the lack of intimacy, the cryptic Facebook posts, his preference for spending time with men over you, become painfully clear. Determined to leave the shattered marriage peacefully, you decide you cannot stay with someone who has betrayed your trust so profoundly. But he refuses to let go. Instead, he begins stalking you, harassing you, and becomes obsessed with destroying the thriving business you once built together. He sabotages your credit and professional relationships, making it nearly impossible for you to move forward. Most chilling of all are his threats. If you don't halt the legal proceedings and stop exposing his secret life online, he will kill you. Then, in a tragic and brutal turn of events, he takes your life just after a courthouse meeting, a place where you sought justice and protection. This is the heartbreaking story of Krystal Evans from Griffin, Georgia. A devoted woman of faith who worked tirelessly to achieve success, all while supporting her husband despite his challenges. She fulfilled her duties as both wife and partner, only to discover his hidden affairs. Krystal found the courage to leave, but ultimately lost her battle to break free, unprotected by the very authorities who should have kept her safe. Welcome to the American Crime, Femicide channel. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for future uploads. According to Krystal's social media posts, she and Tom Mallory had known each other for 27 years. They met and hit it off immediately. Evans, born in the Dominican Republic to parents who came to America seeking a better life, was a woman who stood out from the crowd. Her interests in cowboys, country living, and entrepreneurship set her apart from most women. Tom appeared to find these qualities attractive, or so he led Krystal to believe. After several years of courtship, the two married. Before their relationship descended into turmoil, it wasn't always tumultuous. They were able to raise several beautiful children, own multiple businesses, and build considerable wealth. Krystal was the brains and beauty behind the operations, focusing on all things real estate, while Tom handled the muscle work like trucking. These entrepreneurs afforded themselves the luxuries of life, often splurging on destination vacations with friends and family. One of their favorite places to visit was the Dominican Republic, and they loved family outings to water parks. Sadly, in 2020, Krystal and Tom were involved in a terrible head-on collision with a truck. Krystal's body was left full of titanium metal. She endured immense pain and faced a long road to recovery, including relearning how to walk. On October 15, 2020, she wrote, "We met over 27 years ago, still going only by the grace of God. Marriage is not for the weak. This year in April, we were in a terrible automobile accident that left me disabled for the rest of my life. Having to even learn how to walk all over again. But this man has stepped up above and beyond his husband's duty. He has been there every step of the way, even when I have pushed him away. He even put his own injuries on hold to ensure that I was okay and got the best care possible. At the first of the year, I was planning to end our marriage, but God had something different planned for us. We have totally fallen back in love with each other. And that's exactly what marriage is about, to stay together long enough to fall back in love with each other over and over again. There are going to be days that you don't like each other or get along, but that is life. We made a commitment to each other and God. I wish and pray every marriage gets the healing and patience that it may need to see it through, to death do us part. However, just 3 years after writing this heartfelt message, Krystal would come to regret her decision to stay in the relationship. On February 20, 2023, she announced to her followers, "Please know if something happens to me, Tom Mallory did it. He will not stop stalking and harassing me. I want him to stop following me, trying to show up everywhere I am. I have a divorce in order plus a PTO being filed. I hate to do this, but he will not stop. Please go on with your life and leave me alone. Please, if something happens, please make sure this man is accountable for his actions. I have been living in hell trying to get away from this man." Evans was doing everything in her power to remain strong during her divorce, but Tom seemed determined to regain control over her. After repeatedly being harassed, slandered, and threatened, Krystal revealed to her followers that she left Tom after discovering he was sleeping with other men.
Got me a job. No high school diploma motherfucker bought you a car. This gay motherfucker bought you a car. What more can you say about it? Huh? What more can you say about it?
You fuck niggas, you a faggot, you fuck boy. I can say that. I can keep
put the
saying that.
insurance on the bitch. They ain't got out of fucking town.
Pussy nigga, you ain't put no insurance on it. You put insurance on it, the car still be on the road. Dumbass nigga, you so
like I
stupid.
goddamn said.
You so
Like I
fucking
goddamn
stupid.
said, nigga. You tell me, can you do that? No, you can't do that shit. Because you know why? Because you a bottom nigga.
You so stupid.
That's why you can't goddamn do it. You a bottom
It's
nigga.
cool when I get out there, just have that energy.
On July 23, she wrote, "You're not gonna keep slandering my name and calling me crazy and making it like I have a mental problem because I don't want to be with you. You need to act your old age and not your shoe size. You, sir, are the one that has gone crazy and been going crazy, trying to do everything and taking everything under the sun to get that pecker to work, on top of all your other health conditions. That should have been the least of your worries. And to keep stressing to everyone that my name doesn't need to be on a paper, I don't want it there because I've dropped that borrowed name. But where everybody is hosting at and setting up it as public information, everybody, you can Google it right from your phone to see who owns a property. Knowledge is power, people. Better believe my name is on that. But out of respect for his children, I will allow it. Half of the people that are showing up have told me to leave him because I was too good for him. Yep, your friends and family. All you can do is just keep paying women to keep company with you. And all the people have come back and said, I haven't slept, but has done everything else while he was married, with him. I know you haven't. He ain't even slept with me in years. You cannot wake the dead. I know you ladies just want. I don't blame you if you don't get it. The next one will. It's sad it has had to come to this, but one thing you're not gonna keep doing is stealing from me and trying to punish me because I don't want to be with you. You are an egotistic narcissist. Like everyone is saying, you can plainly see it too, the way you are going about trying to plan this and take over. My character and reputation speak for themselves. Don't keep playing with me because I keep receipts. Plus medical records to prove everything I say. This shocking series of events highlights the tragic unraveling of a relationship that once seemed unbreakable. However, instead of deterring Tom, Krystal's attempts to distance herself only intensified his actions. In a desperate bid to protect herself in case anything happened, Evans began documenting Mallory's stalking behavior and sharing it with her followers. Over the course of 2 harrowing months, she made the following posts. This chilling timeline reveals a woman desperately fighting to protect herself and her loved ones from an escalating nightmare. Despite her public pleas and attempts to document the danger, Krystal's cries for help went unanswered. Her posts serve as a haunting testament to the fear she lived with daily. Tragically, on September 13, Krystal's worst fears materialized into a devastating reality. After attending a court hearing unrelated to her ongoing proceedings with Tom, she was ambushed and shot multiple times in her car while leaving the courthouse. The alleged assailant? Her own estranged husband, Tom Mallory. This horrifying act has ignited outrage throughout the community and left her family, especially her daughter, Krystal Evans, in unimaginable shock as they grapple with the fact that it was her own father who took her mother's life.
I mean, I feel like I don't have nobody.
Precious Evans says she lost both of her parents at the same time.
I don't have nobody to like lean on.
She says she watched her comforter, her mother, Krystal Evans, go through an ugly divorce with her father for a year.
She was so happy after her divorce. She felt free. You know, we were even talking about doing a party.
However, throughout that year, she also says she witnessed disturbing behavior. Krystal posts a cry for help on Facebook last year saying, "Please know if something happens to me, Tom Mallory did it."
Even after the divorce, this man literally texted her, "Not happening."
Precious says her mother was at the Spalding County Courthouse for a hearing connected to their separation Friday afternoon.
The judge did issue a warrant. Instead of the judge taking him in right then and there, the judge said that he could turn himself in Monday night.
In a lengthy Facebook post, Sheriff Daryl Dix says Krystal walked out of the courthouse to her car where Mallory met her, shooting her multiple times from the window. Mallory did not stop for police and eventually shot himself. He's alive, but Evans is not, which Precious believes could have been prevented.
My mom literally called the sheriff department the day before because he was stalking her, and they did nothing. Had they had someone walked out with her, like, you know, her friend asked, she would still be here.
Dix denies this. He says surveillance video shows Krystal never asked for an escort. His office also confirms there have been several domestic violence calls to the Mallory household. Dix says sometimes the violence was mutual and there were no witnesses to identify the aggressor. Dix says, quote, "Do improvements need to be made to the law? Yes, they do. Maybe it wasn't a deputy or my agency that failed. Maybe it was the law itself. And since she can't get her mom back, Precious will honor her life by fighting for justice with no sympathy for her father."
Not once did you offer your condolences, sympathy, or anything for my mom. That post was to clean his face, to clear his name.
In response to the public outcry, Sheriff Daryl Dix of Spalding County released the following statement. "This is Sheriff Dix. I've tried to answer several questions on different posts, and each time I'm accused of being a liar, arguing with the family, making my deputies out as victims, covering up, or belittling what happened. I've said I couldn't comment on it, but with all that's going on, I am. For a fact, the person that started the rumor that Mrs. Mallory asked for an escort has admitted that it was a lie. Clerks in the magistrate office were asked, not a deputy, and a deputy was never requested by anyone to escort her. Video from the lobby shows that as Mrs. Mallory walked through the lobby, she passed deputies and did not ask for assistance either. She walked out of the courthouse to her car that was parallel parked facing north on 6th Street and entered it. Mr. Mallory, who was in a second car, traveled north on 6th Street with the traffic flow, stopped beside her car where she was sitting, fired multiple rounds through the passenger side window of his car, and the rounds struck her. There were deputies on the front of the courthouse, and when they heard the shots, they responded. Mr. Mallory by this time was driving off and turned east on Solomon Street. A marked police unit got behind him, and Mr. Mallory refused to stop. When he finally did stop, he shot himself in the head. He is still alive. Yes, in the past, we have received multiple calls to the Mallory's residence. Both would claim that the other started the fights. On occasions where witnesses were present and interviewed by deputies, they said they didn't see anything or said it didn't happen like it was described by either Mr. or Mrs. Mallory. On other occasions, it was her word against his, or his word against hers, with no marks on either except old bruising or no marks at all. On one occasion when furniture and other items were damaged, both agreed that the fight was mutual, and they both caused the damage observed by deputies. There was information given about services available to them for help and counseling. Under Georgia's family violence law, it says that the primary aggressor shall be arrested. If witnesses didn't see anything, say that what they saw was not what was described by either party, both parties say they both fought mutually, all marks or bruising appear to be old, and there is no physical evidence found, no arrest can be made. There were times when she claimed he hit her or pulled a gun on her. There were times where he said she got angry, hit him, and shot at him. This was by all definitions a toxic relationship. In these situations where no one can be determined to be the primary aggressor, Both parties are given information about contacting a magistrate judge on their own to see if the judge, after a hearing, will issue a warrant. On one occasion, Mr. Mallory was in fact arrested by deputies but posted bond. We are tracking down who posted his bond. He was at the courthouse, just as she was, for their hearing. From what we can find, the only people that were at that hearing were the Mallorys, their attorneys, the judge, and a friend of Mrs. Mallory, who is the same person that started the lie about asking a deputy for an escort. They are the only ones who know for a fact what was said and what happened. I cannot speak about a judge's decision or orders. No one is picking one person over the other or believing one over the other. No one is blaming Mrs. Mallory for what happened to her. We have to take facts and evidence and weigh them against the law in order to act. This is a horrible thing that happened, and people are emotional and angry about it. Mrs. Mallory's family believes she did no wrong and he was the bad guy. Mr. Mallory's family believes he did no wrong and she is the bad guy. Everyone else picks a side to stand with. Deputies don't have the option to arrest based on who has the most followers. That's not how it works. Do improvements need to be made to the law? Yes, they do. Maybe it wasn't a deputy or my agency that failed, maybe it was the law itself. By the way, the deputies that allegedly refused to escort her are the same ones that removed her from the car, tried to control the bleeding, and tried to save her life. Despite discrepancies about the interactions between Krystal, the judge, and law enforcement after leaving the courthouse, one thing remains painfully clear: little to nothing was done to protect her from Tom. In hindsight, it's a haunting reminder that she sensed her time on this earth was limited due to the lack of protection women often receive in such situations. Now, her young children are left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives as they prepare for her funeral. After allegedly killing the woman he once professed to love, Tom shot himself but is listed in critical condition. The community is engulfed in grief and anger, demanding answers and justice. Please keep Krystal's children, family, and friends in your thoughts and prayers. May Krystal Evans rest in peace. If Mallory survives, may he be held accountable and justice be served.